Hey everybody, it's me, your friendly neighborhood Uncle Pete, and this is my movie series, Nails in a Coffin. Almost done with this whole COVID situation. I'm feeling pretty okay right now, so knock on wood. Things are going well. I want to thank you for the support you guys have given me. I really do appreciate it. Today, we're going to finish up the Chucky train and talk about Cult of Chucky. Came out in 2017, and it is a direct continuation from Curse of Chucky. I love the setting of this movie, as I stated when I talked about Curse. Curse of Chucky had a really dark, gothic appearance, and I think that's contrasted really well in Cult of Chucky with this white, sterile background in the mental institution, and that really goes well with the murder scenes with all the bright red blood. So, let's get to it and see how many nails we're going to give in Cult of Chucky. Cult of Chucky opens up with Andy Barclay, played by Alex Vincent, on a blind date, and we come to find out the blind date's not really into him because she did a background check on him, and she's asking him questions like, why do you have so many guns? Why do you live like a survivalist and whatnot? And she's not really into him. So Andy goes home alone, and we come to find out that he pulls Chucky out of a safe in the wall, and he's got Chucky's head from when he shot him with the shotgun at the end of Curse of Chucky. Andy's smoking a joint, trying to relax. Chucky asks for a nice hit. Andy gives it to him. Chucky goes to mess with him, trying to bite him. And Andy's like, you want to play? We'll play. Pulls out a blowtorch after you opening a little drawer of all this little torture equipment. Pulls out a blowtorch and starts to burn Chucky's head, torturing him. Now, this whole movie pretty much takes place in this medium security mental institution, and we have a pretty interesting group of characters. And one thing that I like that Don Mancini did is they didn't make fun of mental illness in the movie, and I see that could have kind of been the easy way out, but they didn't make fun of mental illness. They kind of just embraced it and showed you the different sides of it, and that was kind of appreciated that it wasn't made fun of. It was taken seriously. Now, the first kill happens off-screen, and it's one of the patients, Angela. Now, back up a little bit, Nika was visited by Tiffany Valentine, and Tiffany gives Nika this Chucky doll. So now there's two Chucky dolls in the mental institution because the doctor in charge of it bought a Chucky doll as well. So Tiffany breaks the news to Nika that Alice, which was the only survivor from Curse of Chucky, had passed away. This upsets Nika very much, and Nika tries to kill herself that night. But Chucky is there, stops Nika from doing it. He sews her arm up, and he puts a little message in the blood saying, not so fast. But then he goes to Angela's room and kills her, leaves a message in the blood on the floor from Angela's kill saying Chucky did it. So Chucky is already playing mind games with everybody. We didn't really see how Angela died, so I'm not going to give it any nail rankings, but we'll move on to see what the next kill is. Our first on-screen kill in Cult of Chucky is one of the patients, Claire. She has the Chucky doll. She's trying to throw him down this garbage chute. She doesn't know he's alive, but Chucky comes to life real quick, bites her on the arm, and then one of the doctors sees the bite on her arm. He thinks that Claire did it to herself. So she's all freaking out because now she believes that Chucky is alive, but no one else does. So the doctor has Claire strapped to this gurney in his room, and he sedates her. So she's strapped down and sedated. Not much she can do. Now, the shot is very beautiful in this when you see her looking up with the snow falling on this big glass ceiling above her. Chucky's there, takes this container of compressed glass. He has a little, quick conversation with Claire, throws the container on the ground. It flies up into the glass, and you get this beautiful slow motion kill of the glass falling down with the snow. Glass falls down and cuts Claire's head off. Claire really couldn't do much here. She was sedated. She was strapped down. She had no choice. There was nothing she could do but sit there and wait. So for that, Claire, you're going to get 3 nails in the coffin for the first on-screen kill in Cult of Chucky. Our next kill in Cult of Chucky happens an hour and 6 minutes in, and it is another patient, Madeline. Madeline thinks she has the Chucky doll, and she thinks Chucky is her dead baby. Madeline is in this mental institution for unfortunately killing her child. But she believes Chucky is alive, which he is, and she wants Chucky to help her. She decides she doesn't want to live anymore, and she has Chucky take his arm, stick it down her throat, and he pulls some stuff out, and he kills her by taking his arm off and sticking it all the way down her throat. Madeline had kind of given up. You know, you can pretty much call this suicide in a way because she was trying to kill herself. She didn't really do anything too smart there. I'm not going to really take points off for her, you know, trying to commit suicide. I'm not going to hold that against her. But seeing as how it happened, I'm only going to give Madeline one nail in the coffin for her death since she let Chucky stick his arm down her throat, choking her to death and killing her. So, Madeline, you're only going to get one nail in the coffin. Our next kill in Cult of Chucky happens at an hour and 14 minutes in, and it is Nurse Carlos. Right now, you got 3 Chucky dolls that are alive, and there was a bunch of exposition with Nika and Chucky saying he learned this new voodoo in Voodoo for Dummies, and it was a new spell that he can put his soul into multiple different Chucky dolls. So all this exposition is going on. Nurse Carlos walks into this room where Nika is in a straitjacket in her wheelchair, and he sees 3 Chucky dolls around him. He's looking like, oh my God, what am I looking at? Before he really has time to react, they all attack him, stab him with a scalpel, with a drill, and they pretty much just start stabbing him and killing him. Typical what you see in a Chucky movie is when they see Chucky alive, they freak out and freeze, which is very common with Chucky movies. So Nurse Carlos, even though you're probably one of my favorite characters in the entire franchise, and out of all the kills, this one was really mean-spirited, and again, the one character that I really did not want to see have to die in a Chucky movie, because I really liked Nurse Carlos. He was a really good dude. But he didn't really defend himself. He just froze like we always see. So unfortunately, Nurse Carlos, I'm only going to give you one nail in the coffin for your death. But we didn't really want to see you go. So Nurse Carlos, one nail. At an hour and 16 minutes, we have our next death, and it is one of the asylum guards. He's outside. It's snowing. It's cold outside. He sees this red convertible, so he's walking up to the car to see who's inside. He doesn't see anybody. He doesn't see anything. As he's peeking inside, guess who springs up behind him? Tiffany Valentine. And Tiffany does what Tiffany does best, which is sneaking up behind a law enforcement officer and slashing his throat with her nail file. He wasn't paying much attention like all the other guards and police officers that Tiffany has killed. Really no sense of awareness to what's going on around them. Really crappy law enforcement type officers. Tiffany just walks up behind him, slashes his throat as Tiffany does. So I'm going to give him 2 nails in the coffin. He was surprised, but he should have had more awareness to what the heck was going on around him. And like I said, Tiffany does what Tiffany does best. So the asylum guard, I'm only going to give you 2 nails in the coffin. At hour and 17 minutes in, we have our next on-screen kill, and it is Dr. Foley. Now, at an hour and 12 minutes in, Dr. Foley was creeping on Nika. He had Nika sedated, in a straitjacket, in her wheelchair, doing really gross shit with her feet, kissing her feet, putting shoes on her, so he's a real creepy, gross dude. Chucky comes behind him and knocks him out. And he has this really funny thing that Chucky says about Dr. Foley, saying,
I just can't with this guy. I don't know whether to kill him or just take notes.
Even Chucky doesn't like Dr. Foley. That was an hour and 12 minutes in. And we hit an hour and 17 minutes. Chucky performs his new incantation, Ade Boku Dembala, and puts his soul into Nika. Dr. Foley's coming to right when Nika rises to her feet. And I know there was a lot of confusion with some people. If Nika's paralyzed, how is she able to walk now that Chucky puts his soul into her? I think it's the same way that he makes the Chucky Doll animatronic, that it can move around because his soul is controlling the body, because of the voodoo magic. So that's why I think he's able to make Nika walk. So Dr. Foley is coming to. He's all groggy since he got knocked out. He probably has a concussion. He sees Nika standing, so he has no idea what's going on. He's confused because Nika is paralyzed. But Chucky, he kind of does this for Nika, and he even says something. He's like, "This is for Nika." Steps over Dr. Foley's head and stomps his head till it's a mushy pile of blood and guts on the floor. Kind of nice, I guess you could say, that Chucky did it for Nika, since he doesn't even like Dr. Foley. So out of all the kills in the Chucky franchise so far, this to me was the most satisfying kill, since Dr. Foley was such a disgusting human being. And Chucky did it for Nika, so definitely the most satisfying kill out of the entire franchise. And Dr. Foley, since you're such a piece of crap human being, the best you're only going to get, of course, is one nail in the coffin for your death. Because if you weren't such a gross, disgusting human being, you wouldn't have been knocked out in the first place, since you were creeping on Nika in that way. So I'm holding all that against you, and Dr. Foley, you're going to get one nail in the coffin for your death. At an hour and 20 minutes in, we have our final human kill in the movie, and it is Multiple Malcolm. By now, Chucky's soul is inside Nika, and she's walking around the asylum. She comes upon Multiple Malcolm, and one of the nurses is dead on the floor with a drill in her. Multiple Malcolm is trying to take credit for the kill, but we know it wasn't Multiple Malcolm, it was Chucky. So Multiple Malcolm is on his knees talking to Nika. He's having a mental break, saying he just wants these voices in his head to go away. He can't take it anymore. And one of the many Chucky dolls we have now takes a drill, sticks it in his head, and from the back of his head and the other end pops his eye out, killing him. Again, he wasn't paying attention really to what was going on around him. He was surprised, but you see dead bodies everywhere, and granted, he's mentally ill, so I'm not going to hold too much against him. So Multiple Malcolm, I'm going to give you right down the middle, 2 nails in the coffin for your death. Our final kill in the movie is in an hour and 23 minutes in, and it is this Chucky doll with short hair. This is the doll that Andy had mailed to the asylum with a gun hidden inside his stomach. At the time when Andy mailed him, the doll was not alive, but Chucky did his new Ade Boku Dembella voodoo chant and brought the doll to life. So Andy is in a padded room since he got himself committed, because he wanted to get inside the asylum to finally try and kill Chucky. He's in a padded room. The doll, with the crew cut, makes it in there with the scalpel. Andy's kind of ready for him. The doll, Chucky throws the scalpel at his leg. Andy goes down. They have a quick little wrestling match, but Andy pins Chucky with the crew cut against the wall, takes his hand and rips his stomach out, taking the gun, shoots Chucky a bunch of times, and then stomps on his head till it's just a bloody pile on the floor. Since this is not the true Chucky, it's one of the satellite Chuckies, he was kind of easier to kill, and I don't know if that's something with how the new Damballa chant works. This Chucky was kind of easier to kill than the really alpha Chucky that Andy has his head locked in his safe. So for that case, since I really didn't see Chucky fight much, he was killed so easily, probably one of the lowest nail ratings I'm going to actually give Chucky for the crew cut Chucky, and he's only going to get 1 nail in the coffin for his death. There we have it. At the end of Cult of Chucky, just like the end of Curse of Chucky, Chucky pretty much wins. He has his soul in the body of Nika. Tiffany Valentine is outside the asylum and picks him up with Tiffany Valentine doll in the back seat. Now, we're really not sure if it is Alice or another Tiffany Valentine inside her. It's kind of a little bit ambiguous. And the movie ends with them driving off at night laughing to themselves. But there is one little Easter egg at the very end of the credits, just like we saw at the end of Curse of Chucky. At the end of Cult of Chucky, right when the credits finish, we see this figure walking into Andy's house, and it is the return of Kyle from Child's Play 2. Obviously, she's been in contact with Andy. She walks into the house. Chucky's head, which is nailed to a board, is sitting on the table, and Kyle tells him, hey, we're going to have some fun, and the movie ends with Chucky with a really kind of scared look on his face. Obviously, this movie was followed up by the Chucky TV series, and after the new year, I will cover all those episodes, and I will say I do love that Chucky TV series, and it is a fantastic follow-up to Cult of Chucky. But for now, that's all the Chucky movies. It was a lot of fun to talk about Chucky for all these movies. Going to take a break from Chucky for a little while. I'm going to cover some more holiday movies for the month of December since it is the holiday season. Again, I want to thank you guys for taking this journey with me. We will cover more Chucky at right around the beginning of next year sometime. Well, I will cover the TV show. But I want to thank you for checking this out. I do appreciate it. Hopefully this COVID is past me in a couple days and I'll be back to 100%. But that's all for now. I am your friendly neighborhood Uncle Pete, and remember, with great kills, there must also come great nails.